Good morning, quilters. This morning, I'm going to show you how to fill out your online quilt show registration form for the Columbia River Gorge Quilters Guild's show this October. So I'm going to share my screen. So the first thing you will see is you're going to get an email with the subject line CRGQG Quilt Show entry form link. And if you open that email, there's a link. When you click on that link, here will be the form. Now you will also be able to access this form through a link on our website under the Quilt Show tab. So you'll see here's our logo. Quilt Show entry form must be received by September 23rd of this year. And there's a link if you want to click to get all of the full guidelines for the show and the entry info and then detailed descriptions of each of the categories. That will take you to the Quilt Show tab on our website in a separate tab so that you'll still be on your form in case you need to look anything up about the show. And I've already entered some of my information before, so it's going to just pop up with some of my information. So don't be surprised when it, see when I go right here, it pops up with my name. So I'm just going to click that for my name, but you'll have to enter your name the first time. And you'll have to fill out one of these forms for every quilt you enter in the show. So first is my name. Are you a member of the guild? Yes or no? Because there are different fees to enter quilts for guild members and non-members. It's going to want your address. There's my address. Your phone number, your email address. And is this your first time entering our show? Yes or no? Because we do recognize first time entries. Then you're going to enter the information about your quilt. And there is a waiver involved. By entering the quilt described below, I acknowledge my understanding and agreement with the CRGQG Quilt Show guidelines and entry requirements. I understand CRGQG will take care to protect my quilt, but will not be held responsible for events beyond its control, including theft of a quilt. CRGQG has my permission to photograph my quilt and use it for publicity and/or promotional purposes. And if I choose to sell my quilt, I understand CRGQG will retain a 15% commission. So by entering your quilt, you're acknowledging that although we're going to do our very best to take care of your quilt, things happen beyond our control, and we won't be liable for those types of incidents. This particular quilt I'm entering is called Pumpkin Village. It is 57 inches wide and 59 inches long. It was quilted by me. And you could see if I put other, if I said it was quilted by other, there's a place to enter the quilter's name. But this particular quilt was quilted by me. Then we want you to list the type of quilting, because we have some special quilting awards this time that you can enter separately. We'll get to that in a minute. But we do want you to list the type of quilting. So your choices are hand, if it's all quilted by hand, machine quilting by a professional, which would be me because I have made money quilting people's quilts. Machine quilting non-professional and computer assisted. So if you do not make money quilting for other people, but you do have a long arm or a mid arm with a computerized program like Pro Stitcher, for example, then that's for you. And machine quilting non-professional hand guided. So that is if you use your own home sewing machine or if you do free motion on your own long arm or mid arm. It does include BSR, like stitch regulation would be in the hand guided. It's not in the computer assisted. So mine is machine quilting professional. If this quilt is not your original design or a traditional design, like a log cabin, please list the name and or source of the pattern. Mine was multiple designers. I guess I'll just put that because I'm going to put in my artist statement here. On my artist statement, I've already written it out here, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here instead of retyping the whole thing. The blocks in this quilt were presented free by 11 different designers in the Facebook group Woolly Friends Stitch-Alongs. I use my own stitching and embellishments to complete each block. The Sue Spargo style topper row is my own design. My quilt is not for sale. If it were for sale, I would put the sale price here and note that the Guild will retain a 15% commission on all quilt sales. Will this quilt be judged? Yes, I'm going to have this quilt judged. Now, if I said no, then it would just go right on down. Do you want to enter this quilt for one of the special quilting awards, $5 judging fee? If so, be sure to select the award category upon checkout. But I am going to have my quilt judged. So when I select yes, then this next question pops up. Select the best category for your quilt. Note that the committee and judge reserve the right to move your quilt to a different category based on professional knowledge and the number and distribution of entries. And there's a note that you can see the definitions document for more detailed descriptions of the categories, and that was that link above. Mine is, so I have the choice of large pieced, that would not apply here. That's 251 inches or more in the whole perimeter of the quilt. Wall piece, okay, right now it says perimeter less than 250 inches or less. When you get your form, that will be fixed. That's going to say perimeter less than 251 inches. So that's one mistake I need to fix. Mixed technique is a combination of two or more techniques, such as piecing, applique, embroidery, painting, etc. Art quilt realistic is an original quilt with recognizable or identifiable subject, like a pear or a person. Art quilt non-realistic is an original quilt without a defined subject. Mine's going to be in the mixed technique category. Do you want to enter this quilt for one of the special quilting awards? Yes, I do. And it says, please be sure to select the award category upon checkout, and you'll see that in a minute. Now, submit a photo of the quilt. Important. The file name must be your first initial and last name, and then a hyphen, and then the quilt name. For example, T. Jones - 9-patch sampler. So I'm going to browse my files. I'm actually going to have to go find my picture, which I have in my Wool Stitch Alongs, Pumpkin Village. Here's my Pumpkin Village. So I'm going to change that name to T. Fent - Pumpkin Village. There you go. And that's the file I'm going to upload. So now you can see it's uploading my file. And then click next. If you get to this point and you haven't taken a photo of your quilt yet, and you're like, oh darn, I don't have my photo, then you can save and finish later and come back. I'm going to click next. Select all that apply. I will mail my quilt to Rhonda Griffin. I will deliver my quilt to the Hood River Fire Station on October 8th. I'll notice if you mail in your quilt, it has to be received by Rhonda by October 3rd. I want my quilt returned by mail or UPS, or I'll pick up my quilt at 5:30 at the Hood River Fairgrounds. I'm going to pick my quilt up and I'm going to deliver my quilt. How would you like to pay? If you want to mail in a check, if I click this, then it says select all that apply, and you will have to calculate your total payment. The form won't do that for you, and make your check payable to CRGQG and mail it to Rhonda. So I would click Guild member first quilt entry judged. And then I would click quilting award. I want to enter the machine quilting professional, but I'm not going to pay by check. I'm going to pay by credit card. So then I click next. And I get these. So it's Guild member first quilt entry judged. So I would have the choice of doing not judged. And then there's a non-Guild member first quilt entry judged and not judged. Then there's Guild member additional quilt entry not judged. So if this is the second quilt you're entering, then you'll use these additional entry categories, or the third quilt or the fourth quilt. And then I want to enter for the Quilting Award Machine Quilting Professional. So I get down here at the bottom and it's calculated all for me. It's $25. So once again, I'm going to enter my name. You get this thank you. Your submission has been received. And then you also get a confirmation email, which is great because in the past we haven't been sure if our entries got received or not sometimes. So Tommy Fent, we have received your response for 2024 Quilt Show entry form. And look, when I open it, all the information I entered is here in my email. So I can check and be sure I didn't make any mistakes. If I made some mistakes, I could email Rhonda Griffin and let her know, oops, I made a mistake in my entry form. But that is all there is to it. I mean, it's all right there for you. And it's like super easy. It's super intuitive. You just follow down and answer the questions. What you'll need to have handy is the name of your quilt, the dimensions of your quilt, know whether or not you want your quilt to be judged, know which category you're going to enter it in, and know if you want to enter for one of those special quilting awards. And you'll need to know like the name of the person who designed the pattern if it wasn't your own. You'll also need to know the name of the quilter if you didn't do the quilting. So we really hope you'll use our online form. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me, to Kim Vogel, to Rhonda Griffin. And at the August meeting, we're going to be set up to help you do your entries. So if you want to bring your phone with a picture of your quilt on it, or your own laptop or tablet with a picture of your quilt handy, we will actually help you do your entry if you want to do it then. See you at the August meeting.